Hey guys, it's Haley and Steve from Top Guns in Terre Haute, Indiana. And I'm with Steve here today because I have a lot of questions, being a novice shooter and kind of getting back into the game of carrying and being comfortable. So I wanted to come and see what I could learn and be a little bit more experienced and comfortable.
Well, I know we're excited to have you on the channel. Tell me a little bit about what some of your concerns are and maybe we can address a few of them.
So the first thing that I think of when I walked in here after a couple of years was, I don't know what to do. What do I look for when I'm trying to pick a gun that is going to be proportionate and good for me to carry?
Okay, that's a great question, and it's actually one we get almost daily.
Yeah.
So there's a few criteria that I look for when I'm shopping for a firearm for myself for self-defense purposes. So we need to clarify that in this particular scenario we're talking about for self-defense. Right. If you're going into a facility, now there's one criteria I typically leave out and I forget how important it actually is to other people. So I need to start off by saying this may be the top priority for everybody, and that is it the right size and weight for your particular purposes? So we're gonna make the first assumption of number one up here would be the caveat that it has to fit wherever we're going to carry it. Okay, so now that we know what size gun we're looking for, there are a few criteria that I look for when I go in and buy a firearm. First and foremost is reliability. The gun has to go bang every time I pull the trigger. So after that, it's going to be durability. Durability is different than reliability. Durability is the firearm using high quality parts? Is it going to break if I drop it or if I get in a physical confrontation? Third on my list is going to be point ability, okay? So let's assume we found 5 guns and all of them are reliable, all of them are durable. And those two characteristics should be the same for all of us.
Right.
Point ability, number 3 on my list, is different than for each of us. What points for you may not point well for me and for the next guy. So in essence, what you're going to do, or the way that I test for point ability, is I'll pick something small on the wall. It could be like a door handle or something, and try to be back 10, 15, 20 feet, whatever it is. And I'll go up and I'll simply point my firearm, not aim it, simply point my firearm at where I think the door handle is. Then I will move my eyes to the gun without moving the gun and see how far off I am. Am I high, am I low, am I left, am I right? And the one that I have to move the least amount, if I can do it, maybe 4 or 5 times and see if I consistently point decent with one of them, then that's the one that's going to be the easiest for me to probably overcome the muscle memory and point it well and be able to inherently shoot more accurately. So point ability is again, only comes into play if we have reliability and durability. After point ability is accuracy. Accuracy for me is not that important on a self-defense handgun. Stats show that most self-defense scenarios are going to take place in under 7 yards. And in a controlled setting, meaning you and I are at the range, we're not nervous, right. There's probably not a firearm in the store that we couldn't pick up as a novice shooter and put most all the rounds center mass on a target. Sure. Again, this is assuming we don't have somebody shooting back at us and we're not nervous. Right. There are other factors that can cause us not to be accurate. Absolutely. But assuming that we have those factors under control, then the reality is the accuracy of this firearm isn't really all that important at the distances we're talking about for self-defense. Sure. Having said that, if you're spending somewhere probably north of $400, $450 and up or $400 and up, you're probably going to get accuracy included in that firearm by default, meaning those guns are often going to shoot more accurate or capable of shooting more accurately than the shooter, the person holding the firearm. Right. Last on my list is price, because at the end of the day, what price can you put on your family's life, on your life, on maybe even an innocent bystander's life? There's really no price that you can put on that. And so as long as I'm not being taken advantage of at one store versus another store, then I think that price is almost irrelevant as long as, we're gonna say, I think most people in today's society would probably justify and come and say, look, I could spend up to $800 or $1,000. That's not uncommon from what we find in our retail facility. Right. So knowing that, I know that we can put them into most any firearm that will serve them very, very well. And quite frankly, you can often spend somewhere around that $400 to $700 price bracket and get some phenomenal firearms.
Right.
So price kind of falls in last. I don't necessarily shop for price when I'm going, but I also don't want to be a snob because I realize that there, sometimes we do have price constraints, and so in some instances that may be a number one priority. If someone comes and says, "Look, I have $150 to spend," well, we can't go show them, well, this one's reliable, durable, whatever. Right. All those criteria are probably no longer as pertinent to those folks. So I don't want to be presumptuous and assume that this is the list that everyone needs to take into consideration.
Right.
This happens to be some of the criteria that I look for when I'm purchasing a firearm. And so I thought maybe this might help you and help some of the others out there who are watching and wanting to figure out what we look for if we're already in the industry and we have maybe a little bit of experience going in.
Right. And I know that, for example, both of my parents, they're both very, very new to anything that has to do with firearms, whether it be carrying, whether it be shooting in general. So they legitimately don't know what to look for. So coming into a place where you have these certain criteria that you know are important in every single type of handgun, although they may be skewed in order, they're all still very important and relevant. That's good to know because those are things that coming in, I might be novice in shooting it, but I might not be as experienced in being able to lead them in the right direction on what to look for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with us today. I want to thank Steve, for teaching me a little bit more, but I am curious, what is important to you? Do you think that his list is accurate? Is there anything that you might add or change?
All right, guys, hit your like and subscribe button. I think there's a little bell or something that you can hit on there so that you get notifications.
Yes.
All right, so do all that stuff, and we will talk to you all soon. Take care.